Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to Darksiders 3. Almost forgot the name there for a second. Geez, I was facing this way, and I guess I subconsciously didn't think about which way I should be facing to start the new level. I think I fell down that way. Yeah. Some of these like spiked things though look like the ones that you're supposed to burn, but I don't think they actually are. Yeah, I'm fairly certain I'm supposed to go up here, yeah. We're working our way to another big boss fight. It really needs to be like a demon fight more than just another one of the 7 deadly sins, but I suspect it very possibly will just be one of the 7 deadly sins. Did we miss any eggs that we were just walking past them? I guess we did. It was definitely the right decision to start getting souls by breaking things, because the act of breaking things happens fairly common.
Bastards never stood a chance, did they?
Who?
Earthlings of any species.
And here we have another angle of this tilted building. It seems to have just fallen down into the ground. Although almost certainly no building would withstand such a massive change, even to the level that's being shown. Like buildings, for the most part, designed to stand upright and have their force and strength of them being upright. As soon as you start tilting a building to significant degrees, they fall over very quickly and fall apart very quickly.
Perhaps you can light the way with your scintillating personality.
That's an interesting line of dialogue there.
So do it quietly. I don't think we're alone.
Yeah, that's like 2 different lines of dialogue that feel very disconnected. And yeah, the darkness here. Darkness here seems to be the idea. Oh, I didn't realize you could actually hold down the right bump to turn it off. So you need to be in one of the 2 hollow forms. It's fairly obvious. Let's go check out where this leads us. Interesting. That literally led us nowhere. There's just nothing here, nothing to pick up or anything. It's almost like it's a monster closet, but we haven't bothered to see any monster closets in the game up until this point. So either there's going to be some collectibles that start appearing later on, which would suck, or they're trying to have almost like a horror-like experience. It looks like that's probably the way. And this doesn't really work at all. Here we have a different kind of artwork. It doesn't make enough sense to try and have a horror experience in a Darksiders game. I mean, these are the Four Horsemen of the apocalypse. They are not going to be afraid of being in the dark, nor are they going to be in significant disadvantage by being in the dark. I mean, I suppose if they were completely engulfed in darkness, then that might be a problem. I did say in the last recording, following a railroad track is an interesting idea. As a concept. And this does make a little bit more sense. Of course, the problem here is we've seen 3 different paths. I'm just going to pick one and go that way. And then I feel like either you were getting a map finally that may be just an overworld map, like a single map to cover the entirety of the entire overworld. Maybe there will be 2 maps, like a heaven and hell type map on top of an earth map extra, but I don't think we're doing the Zelda thing where we have compasses and maps for specific dungeons. Yeah. And if we've just hit a checkpoint here, then we probably did just miss some stuff. It could very well be a case that these kinds of bigger monsters also have a slower attack speed. So I might be getting more dodges in average against fighting these bigger monsters. Go ahead and use our respite. Our respite at the moment will refill our life completely, but I just don't want to play that way. I don't want to run the risk of letting my health get down to below the halfway point even. So I need to start thinking about increasing my health. The problem here though is with my main attack, I still am having to tap the X button 2 or 3 times to kill even fairly small sized enemies. So I would like my damage to go up higher still. And so I have to decide whether I want to focus. Interesting. Straight up jumping down. Well, that looks like one you could break. That took several attempts. Yeah, I have to decide whether I want to focus in on killing, doing more damage, first and foremost. And if there's 2 enemies next to me, I might as well start doing the other types of attacks. And see, I think that hallway splits it differently. It honestly feels like hitting these monsters with the strong attack kills them so often anyways. There's almost an inconsistent level of just how much health these characters have in their cocoons. Sometimes they're really strong, but the vast majority of the time they're fairly weak. Yeah. Every collectible, I suppose, is still worth collecting. Anyway, might as well make use of it. As I say, boring cars last forever. That's almost certainly an inside joke. In the car models in these games are not the most interesting cars you've ever seen. Right. So this kind of feels like this is a hub area. And we're going to have to open up these different shortcuts at some point. And so that tells me we're coming back to this area. Which means we should look up here. And we'll just go this way. And going up these stairs gives you the feeling that we're getting closer and closer to the surface. And very possibly away from the spiders. I'm playing this game as if I was playing this game on a harder difficulty than I really am. So I'm collecting a lot of stuff and trying to get upgrades and everything to become potentially overpowered, or at least at a power level that would be reasonable if you were playing on higher difficulties. But honestly, if you were more of a story mode player who just wanted to experience the story, I can't help but feel like you wouldn't go through the extra effort of collecting all of these shards, of which I've not used any. And so you wouldn't also have gone out of their way to get souls for every time you break something.
Mistress, your talisman.
We're close. This time you watch. You do not speak.
Yeah, I guess I'm going the right way towards some demon somewhere. I must be very close, would be my guess. Let's see. Yeah, this is just straight up a... Alright, well, we have 4,000. Is there anything to think about here? I think you just shatter all of these. And then I could fast travel and potentially upgrade some things, but I don't think it's really that necessary. And this menu crashes far too often. There's not anything to really change, I think. No, I think we just go with our base stats here. And honestly, upgrading these base stats make a little bit more sense anyways, because your base stats would be something that carries with you no matter what. And your weapons may swap out at some point, and any upgrades to those weapons may be lost. Plenty of games have done that. It's a little weird to have levels at all, though, and that's something that was introduced in the second game.
This will be fun for both of us.
And yeah, I don't know if that... I don't think it really was a smart move to start to try to put numbers on things and start to make it feel like it was some kind of Let's see. This health lurcher, pushing this for 250 is not too much really. And it refills a single charge of Nephilim's respite instantaneously, I guess. So, probably not really worth it.
As you wish. Farewell for now.
You almost assume that they want you in this mode. But fire would imply to be in the fire mode. Then I imagine around this corner is just an arena, and that's it. Sloth. I wasn't really expecting to go to Sloth.
Fury. Fantastic.
Your day of reckoning is at hand, Sloth. You will be judged in combat like all the others.
Darling, do I look like I'll be fighting anything or anyone anytime soon?
You have no choice.
There's always a choice, darling. I choose not to choose. Too much of a bother. I laugh at you, but it's too much effort. Don't take offense. You'll play your part well in our wee morality play. But really, why bother? It's the apocalypse. Woo. I'm completely over it. My sole concern is comfort.
That sounds familiar.
And as you can see, I have my many minions for that. It's all they live for. You should try it. I'll spot you a few slaves if you'll just relax.
I shall once you and your kin lie dead. I only hope the rest put up more of a fight than you.
I guess this has to be an in-engine cutscene when you see the flaming hair. Although modern technology can really do 4 different variations on a cutscene pretty easily and still pre-render it.
Take a load off and enjoy the nothingness. I bet you take to it quite easily.
Would you abandon your mission?
No.
Is that so? The Great Fury would not allow herself to fall prey to such a creature. Are you truly up to the task?
Yeah, the idea of Sloth potentially convincing Fury to just sit back and relax and do nothing is hard to believe. This guy is attacking me, so he isn't just never gonna attack you. And it's very weird for the cutscene to basically have all those bugs. So here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking I need to attack these bugs and kill enough of them to drop him. To do that. And let's go into our fury mode at this point and do as much damage as possible, which is not really a lot. You know what, come to think of it, I don't think I actually increased my health or my damage enough. Clearly, fire is affecting him to some extent. If I use the Y attack to do that, I'm kind of stuck in a corner here. And he kind of has this attack and swing, backswing to it. And see, he's about dead, but I died. Okay, and that puts us in a different position. And it does highlight an issue. Yeah, we had 3 points here. And getting to 5 is not a bad idea. And getting this to 5 is not a bad idea. But also, arguably, maybe I should just, going forward, try to get everything to strength and physical strength. It wouldn't be a terrible point at this point to use a Wrath Core. So let's see. Wrath, healing, strength, fortification, havoc. I think havoc is what I'm looking for, not wrath. Alright. So I'm gonna eat a havoc and hope that's right. Yes. That was right. Now there's a cooldown before you could use any other shards. In a lot of ways, though, I also got painted into a corner, so I would have won had I not gotten stuck in this corner. This is an unskippable section. Alright. The problem here is to even use respite really kind of sucks. Like, and you can't do a Y attack when you're in this havoc mode. Like, he really has this whole backside, so if you can get behind him, you can defeat him fairly easily. Let's see. And with that, we're done. We did use a little couple shards.
What change do you think killing me will enact on this sad crusade?
Are you begging? Muster up a little dignity.
sweetheart. I let slaves wipe my ass with the wings of angels while I enjoy a morning tea. Dignity is a myth, like the balance you fight for. Aren't you exhausted?
Yes.
But even the most grueling fight is less tiring than taking no action at all.
Yeah, I really would question why Fury for a second would be tempted at not acting. The concept of Fury is kind of antithetical to the concept of sloth. And always, I guess, each of the 7 deadly sins and the 4 horsemen are embodiments of ideas, like the Sandman comic book series. But oddly, there is kind of no central point of Fury's rage. We also have some, what you would describe as benevolent sexism in Sloth, calling her sweetheart the whole time, when if this was death or war, they would be just almost certainly just calling him War by his name. Interesting, you can hit those, but they're not breaking anymore. And then in a funny way, we have gone full circle again, and at some point, if we can walk over air gaps, this will just be a major shortcut. In the first game, there was a point where you had a horse, different horse, War had a different horse, and that different horse could walk over certain spots in the air. So maybe there is an improvement on that idea that will happen at some point. I still feel like I've missed a lot of the stuff around this area, and it does just kind of feel like the game is going to force us further in yet another direction. Although in this case, maybe not so much, because we just made a bridge. And the next 7 deadly sin, we're being told, is over, I think, in this direction. We now have an upgrade in what kind of enemies are attacking us. This was not what was here before. And that was my thought, certainly, is that we were going to eventually get to that point. And I feel like I may have missed quite a bit. I know there's a way to get up here, but it's probably kind of more uniquely this platform only. Yeah. I've missed, I think, quite a bit of an area. So, instead of walking there, let's see if we can find a serpent hole and think about it and see if I miss some things. That'll give me some time to attack some generic enemies and refill our respite. Or, you know, I could probably just run backwards. That might work fairly well too. Interesting that there's like there was a wall covering up this, and then it disappeared as I got closer. Yeah, unless there is a fall downward. Let's go back this way. Was this area lit up before? I guess is the question. I don't feel like it was. So we may be going off the pattern that they want me to go to and out of order. Part of my concern though about following the order of killing the 7 deadly sins doesn't feel valid because we didn't get any item upgrade. We also didn't get a new hollow for defeating Sloth. So that played out differently than I thought it would. Let's go this direction and see where this curves in. For a human.
What is this?
If we were going to get any benefit for saving these humans at this rate, we should get it now, which does give us an argument to going back to Haven. Yeah. Once we get out of this area, we may never really see those kinds of bugs again. And yeah, you only get the green stuff, the green respite health refills when your health is less than 100%. Almost certainly we will start to see more of these kinds of monsters when we come back to this area. I don't think we're going to get up there that way. See, and that gets us back to this point. Some of these guys definitely jump out faster than you would have time to attack if you're going to attack with the Blades of Chaos, which are a pretty short range weapon. You can see how the narrow hallways of this level design also doesn't really pay off very well. This whole section feels like it is kind of just an experiment on would darkness make sense or work in this game, and I think the answer to that is kind of a resounding no, it wouldn't. You have an indicator, by the way, when somebody's about to attack you, so you are almost completely safe from any surprise attacks. You don't have a fire attack that would light something on fire in this area, though. Like I'm not seeing any cobwebs on the walls or anything like that that would let you get further or illuminate the room. So I kind of think that that is just an experimental room as an idea. I guess we maybe already came down here, but we didn't fall down lower. So this path may be a shortcut through some of the areas I didn't see before.
You're not the only luminous being in the dark.
Another plaything. Good. All this fumbling in the dark pays off in some bloodshed.
Not well, mistress.
Alright. We'll go ahead and kill one to be free of that. And then we'll dash in while we still can. Kind of a heavy hitter, probably, but not that big of a heavy hitter. The little things on its back, the little baby bugs, seem to explode. Cause some damage. Juggernaut enhancements. Enhancements can be socketed into your weapons inventory. A socketed enhancement will confer an active benefit to a weapon. So, was that a human that was holding on to it? It looks like it very well may have been. It's environmental storytelling, but kind of done at the expense of not doing actual storytelling. Let's see. I have no idea where I started in this cave, because of course you're going to get turned around fighting those guys. But I do kind of have the feeling that this is just a cave that has one entrance and one exit, and then these special fight rooms. And ideally I think I would have preferred to come into rooms like this a little bit more often, but also to have them have a door on one side that's kind of fairly clearly marked, and then a door on the other side that unlocks once you beat the bosses. In this case, they're definitely going for something different, and instead giving you a big arena to fight, I guess, sort of unique sub-bosses, but I mean, you really can't even call them sub-bosses, can you? That's not what it happened. And was this area glowing like that before? Or did we illuminate the area with luminescent rocks now? Like, I almost wonder if I was supposed to drop down. Well, this area is not illuminated. So. So yeah, it didn't give you any special long-lasting benefit. I wouldn't be surprised if you do get some ability to see in the dark later on in the game. Now I'm questioning, have I seen enough, or is there more stuff that I think I may have missed? I think I've probably seen enough. You know, you do have all kinds of little things. You don't have the opportunity to just fast travel. So I am somewhat pot committed. I can't even lock on this character. That is something I need to check though. Gameplay. Toggle lock mode, hold toggle. I'm going to change that to toggle. I think that works better for me, and it probably would work better for most players. Is to just go into a lock mode when there's an enemy on the screen. Can't show it now until we find an enemy. And just stay locked on that until you tap the left trigger again. If you could walk over the air at any point, walking around this area, it doesn't seem like it would really give you anything unless there's some kind of secret collectible on the other side, or even a secret area on the other side of that building. It certainly would open up perhaps far too many possibilities in level design. You run it a fairly high danger. Oh, this was the area we were in before. Yeah, fairly high danger of making a game feel very linear and boxed in and just locked into its path, for you to potentially come back and reveal that actually the game is way more open than it seems. I am stuck. These two things are acting on my behalf, so I had to... They were keeping me locked in the pattern, in the crouched pattern. Alright, so enemy. Hold here. Apparently toggle didn't get saved. Let's go back and see if that was true. It says target lock mode toggle. So that should work. But maybe it just doesn't show the icon all the time then. This wasn't a drop down. We've seen fairly few drop downs actually. Or I guess technically it was a drop down, but not a drop down from the very top of the map. Okay. Yeah, I don't think it benefits me any further to go any further. I checked a few people.
The crucible is buzzing, and Targon wishes to meet the warrior behind the words.
We're getting another
How
indication to go to
You may flatter
the
him
crucible.
with a visit in turn.
The next challenge of the crucible is now available. Access the crucible on the Limbo tab in the Serpent Hole menu.
What would you ask of this humble merchant? This will be fun for both of us.
I'll just feed this guy souls for now and not do anything else. I want to know what the void is. So I'm going to just go there and just see what it is. Although almost certainly, if it's anything interesting, then we will spend more time here. This doesn't look like an area we've been to before.
I have never been witness to structures of stone floating so freely.
Yeah. This is the serpent holes in the first game, basically. Where, and I can't help but suspect that this is also DLC. You would have, as a way of hiding loading, you would have had to walk through these different patterns. And they were not random patterns or kind of mazes, and they weren't, and they had items in them and collectibles in them. But you inevitably had to go through them every time you used the serpent hole instead of having a fast travel, because it was just hiding loading. And now that this is a more modern game, obviously, that was not difficult. Modern games are not going to have that level of loading necessary, so and these are like stone golem characters that we're fighting. Did we get everything? Maybe, maybe not. The flames are going purplish the further you get away, I think. Either that or the flames are color-coded. I think the flames might be color-coded, because I think we started here. Yes. And then we went and looked at the orange, and the orange was blocked off. So I wonder if there are parts of this that we won't be able to really access. Okay. Didn't need the extra jump. I thought I might. Strike the void orb with a charged hollow attack while the orb is what? We'll just do it and see what happens. While the orb is activated to initiate the hollow power. So you imbue it with hollow power. So you couldn't have gone any further in this than that point without a hollow power. Which maybe means that there is a
Death wand of such creatures, with the power to manipulate stone to their very will and take on a physical form.
Yeah, I don't know how much of this void exists. This could be its own huge amount of DLC level, or it could be a fairly small temple in the same way that a lot of the main game temples have been fairly small. At the end of the day, as long as we can continue to go forward, though, I think we're in a decent position. Although noticeably, here's something that I can't access, and this feels like it would be something you could access. It's a slow attack, making it harder to attack, actually. That guy was just static. Up here seems to allow you to get that way, but I think that's the wrong path. I think I should go this way. If this is like a lot of the other parts of the game, though, we may come back to this area and have significantly stronger enemies at some point in the future. We also are assuming that the small caches of souls that we're finding are the only things we would ever find, and I'm not perhaps messing myself up on future opportunities, because there is a potential that if I left these gems and picked them up later, they might be bigger size gems instead of just getting small clumps and things like that. There's a potential, but it's hard to know for certain, and it's probably impossible to know for certain. And in all fairness, almost every game is like that. There could always be some big trick that could give you a much better reward or a better way to play a game. And it's hardly the case, I think, in this instance, that I don't think in this instance that you would even significantly benefit or from playing this game perfectly, because the game on story mode at least is easy enough. So you're better off probably just laying back and enjoying the experience as is. Yeah, I imagine that's going to move that over there, and that's going to create stairs. Yeah. Thought I might need a double jump there, but not necessary. That being said, here, let's try something. Carefully. Collect that, and then my hope is that I can double jump to get up to that and not fall to my death. Although even if I did fall to my death, probably wouldn't hurt me that much. And that clearly is an element of the lava hollow, which does, I think, say that maybe we can only go so far. Like, yeah. Let's see. I don't think it's gonna let me knock him over the edge, where I imagine it would let the enemy here knock me over the edge. Although maybe it's going to be fairly generous and prevent either one of us from falling off the edge. We're assuming, though, that there isn't any kind of trick as far as attacking these floating fires, because if there is something to that, if we had like a gun at some point and we needed to shoot those to change them different colors, that'd be fairly annoying. And you can only fall so often before your death happens. Although the game is actually more generous than it seems on that also, because I don't think it actually will kill you if you fall. Yeah. Like, we're getting basically shot by lasers, it seems. Which I think indicates that your health probably needs to be at a certain level and your defense needs to be at a certain level. Let's go this way and hit this one. They're really enjoying doing this, whereas most games I don't think would actively put archers or things like archers in the corners of rooms to just harass the player. Like, the layout of the enemies in this game is more strategic than I'm really used to seeing. More strategically designed against the player instead of helping the player. Well, I hear all kinds of sounds, but I don't see anything. It may turn out that the void really is just a dungeon, and that we're gonna run into like a boss, and then that'll be it. Unless the void is a system that remakes the world over and over again, which would be a cool idea, but that would also be one of these desperate ideas which we've already seen a lot of, where the game is stretching itself thin for not the best of reasons, instead of being a tighter, more thought through, bespoke experience. The Crucible is a great example of that. Like, you can pretty obviously say the Crucible was a waste of their energies, and they would have done better instead making one more dungeon or one more area, one more enemy style type. I mean, we've got a checkpoint here. But I guess I can go that way. And then I guess I'm going to eventually circle back that way. So I imagine this is a side path. One of the things I don't like about games is that they are often too realistic with sword-carrying monsters. So if you're over on the left side trying to attack them, even though they may not be swinging or have a defense up, they still, the blow does not actually connect. And yes, that is realistic, but ideally I would like him to be damageable from any angle, particularly when you're running around in circles like this. And certainly the whip attack aspect of this points back to the idea of making sure you can damage them from any angle, because all of that jumping around is going to spin you around in circles. You don't see a lot of characters jumping around this much and being this acrobatic, and it's fairly obvious why. Okay. Collect that. Is there something higher up? No. We're still getting that chain sound effect non-stop. I don't hate it though. It hasn't driven me insane yet. I'm not hearing it most of the time. I have no idea what that is. Ooh. But I do think I understand what that indicates and what that means. I hit it with the power of the hollow, of the fire hollow. If I'd hit it with a different power, I probably would have been able to go in a different direction. Jumping down that way, maybe not the best move. But yeah, we've got to get that cube open. We have a real puzzle here, which has noticeably been missing in the rest of the game. And I can't imagine that that's a case because that is specific to me because I chose story mode. That would be too much if they removed entire rooms full of puzzles. Yeah. And hitting these alone won't do that. Right. And I barely made it there. Okay. So we'll infuse this with a different hollow form attack. That seems to have done nothing. Alright, well then we'll see if we can make a jump that would get to the edge here, which we can. But I really doubt that that was what the right way to solve that. Interesting. It does seem like only fire moves these. Okay. Did that help in any way? I don't know if any of this is helping. Oh, there's one under there that has to be hit. Okay. Interesting. Okay. Okay. I definitely did not solve this puzzle room the way it was intended, but seemingly have solved the puzzle room. And we get that sound effect, the successful sound effect, and then we got some major frame stuttering happening there. Right, well, this probably is the best point to end on a successful note. And here's that checkpoint. Alright. So we did have a level up there that I haven't used, and I wonder how long I haven't used that. Let's see. We have another luminous visage to shatter. I guess by keeping the crystals in their crystallized forms, you do have that opportunity to
This will be fun for both of us.
to not lose as many souls if you were just gonna die multiple times.
As you wish. Take your time.
Of course, as I'm feeding him more and more souls, I'm not getting any faster or closer to Storm Hollow armor.
As you wish.
And if you wanted to leave, you would just use the Serpent Hole there. I want to stand in a different position so I actually know which way I'm supposed to go, which is this way. Alright. 3 points. You get 4% increase in damage if we go on physical strength. And I think that's really where this is just going to go, is that we really should just continuously push into physical strength, because doing damage is way more important. Maybe getting arcane up to 10 when we get strength up to 20 makes some sense. I don't know if it really makes a lot of sense to get our health much higher as long as we aren't dying a lot in boss fights. We're at the moment kind of bouncing out to die once in every boss fight. When we can, we'll upgrade all of our weapons to try to increase the weapon attacks even more. And yeah, it's pretty much all that we have to worry about. So yeah, we defeated Sloth and then decided to go on another side quest by doing the Void. I think the Void will pay off fairly nicely by just giving us more souls and letting us level up our character a little bit more. Although the game seems to be fairly self-balancing like most games, so I'm not still at the point where I'm even doing a one-hit kill on the lowest of enemies. So I am just staying with the power curve. Anyways, that's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend or follow me on any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below. And if you want to support me further, there's a link to Patreon, or you can friend me on Steam and get me a game off my wishlist. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.